Boppers. Hey Boppers, welcome back to Groovin Movies. It's me, Eddie French, and I'm here with Amber Tidswell.
Hello.
Yeah. Tom's not going to be joining us for the next couple of episodes either, I'm afraid.
No.
But there will be an announcement coming soon about the future of Groovin Movies, and there is one, and it is going to be glorious.
Yes.
So don't worry about that. But join us now because we're both comfortably nude at the moment.
Yep.
Because it's the only way to be when discussing this week's film.
It's hard to keep those clothes on.
Emma has gone for classy nude. I've gone for quite aggressive nude, but, you know, that's just how we roll. Let's not bury the lead. Nude on the Moon.
Nude on the... Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
The B-52 fans among you, we know you're out there.
Yep.
Don't go looking for your CDs because...
Nope.
That's not what we're talking about, even though there is an anthology by the B-52s called Nude on the Moon. We are talking about the sexploitation/nudist film.
Which would have been quite good if it was on Planet Claire. That's my one B-52 reference.
Nice, Planet Claire.
Thanks.
Oh, there you go. Absolutely
there
correct.
We go.
Yeah, very good. 1961 this was released, written and directed by Doris Wishman and Raymond Phelan.
Yeah.
And it's a nudist film. These were pretty popular ways of delivering nudity.
It was the 60s.
It was the 60s.
It was.
They used to have these sort of nudist films there where it would be like, here's life inside a nudist colony. Look, they're doing the things that normal people do.
Like badminton.
Badminton and riding a bicycle and eating a sandwich. But without any clothes on. Be careful trimming the plants.
Are they going to spill sauce in their bits?
Well, that's it. If they'd done that, that would have been tittillating. This was just for information. They used to sell lifestyle magazines as well. In MASH, Hawkeye would often receive his nudist lifestyle magazines, which was just basically, I suppose, a few generations later, it would have been National Geographic in the sort of free availability of nude humans.
Like, this is probably kind of the levels of an entire film dedicated to those pens where the bits fall off the lady.
Yeah. Just turn it upside down and wait for a while, and then I suppose it's surprising how long this film spends fully clothed.
Yeah,
because it's about an hour and 10 minutes long anyway. It's not long.
The build-up's quite intense, quite a lengthy process.
The difference with this one, you're absolutely right. The difference with this one is that it's a science fantasy nudist film.
Oh.
That's what it says here.
Instead of just being Pokemon Snap with breasts.
It was, there's aspects of Pokemon Snap to it.
Yeah.
Basically, we open up and we're introduced to two scientists, and we know they're scientists because they told us.
Yep, and they definitely don't wear lab coats, which is...
Nope.
No
overalls. Need for that.
They look like the science mechanics.
But absolutely. There's Dr. Jeff Huntley, who is our young go-getting scientist, but his mentor, Dr. Nichols.
Oh, he's got a right nice car as well.
He's got a lovely car,
beautiful.
He is...
I wrote fit car.
Good. Yeah.
Core blimey.
Get a look at the fenders on that.
Beautiful. Anyway.
He's slightly worried about Jeff because he thinks he works too much. He thinks that he hasn't got any time for anything else in his life. He's just obsessed with this trip to the moon because he's invented a rocket and he reckons it can get to the moon.
Yeah, which is an admirable claim.
Yeah, absolutely. And America is the land of entrepreneurial go-getting kind of thing.
And rockets.
And it's the early 60s, very early 60s. So things are going nicely. Things are, all on the up and up, really.
Oh, yeah.
And so Dr. Nichols and his secretary, Kathy, remember her, she'll be important later.
She's got a right old crush on
on Jeff.
On Jeff.
She loves Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
She is delighted with Jeff.
Enamoured.
But Jeff doesn't even notice her.
Nope.
He doesn't even notice her as a woman.
No.
He notices her as someone who was in the office and someone who is an excellent typist.
Yes.
And
brilliant.
And
overworking. Yeah.
Nichols is worried, and he says to Kathy at one point, "You're the finest typist there's ever been." She says, I just stay behind late at night to work on my typing.
I love it.
Yeah, he goes, "You're the finest typist I have ever met." I mean, he was about half a sentence away from smacking her on the arse and winking at her.
Yep.
It was sort of, "You're the finest typist there is. I bet you'd make a swell wife one day." And so he goes, "You're just staying here to see Jeff."
But he's all right as our Jeff. Although, actually, can I just point out the professor's hair was magnificent.
Yes.
It was like he was carrying this kind of finely tuned like sculpture of tinfoil everywhere. Beautiful.
True. That's why
it looked like the guy from Lazy Town. Sort of.
There is something more hat than hair about his coiffure.
Beautiful.
So we meet Jeff. He comes in. Oddly enough, for someone who's always working, he turns up late.
Yeah.
But that's because he's been at an appointment. Because his uncle or someone died.
Yes.
And his uncle's died, and
he gets this letter, doesn't he?
He gets left like $1 million.
Yeah, right. And understandably, the prof's like, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep it? Are you going to save it?
He's like, "That's amazing. You never have to work again. $1 million in 1960. Wow. That's insanity. You can buy 4 houses, 10 cars, and still be totally,
settle down with 5 wives.
Yeah,
do what you want.
One in each of the houses.
Exactly.
And one in one of the cars as well.
You could do in Fable 2 if you hide the people behind the trap door, like the mood door. Anyway, investigate that if you want.
That's now we know what you did in Fable 2.
A lot of people did. Right, if it's going to, you can get away with it there. You've got lots of different settlements.
Was that the one Stephen Fry narrated, or was that?
No, it was that last from My Family, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Zoe Wanamaker.
Zoe Wanamaker. Want to make a Fable.
Want to make a family here and here.
Oh, I'm right. This is not even that important, but I got a Fairfax Castle and I was so excited, and I had my great family, and then I moved them in, and apparently there was bandits downstairs, and ended up slaughtering my entire family. So that was good.
Wow, your life before we met, your life was just Game of Thrones, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Fair enough.
I actually killed them by accident because I was trying to protect them. Oh, misguided. Anyway.
Let's see, this is.
So Jeff doesn't want to marry or settle down or have his family in fair.
No, Jeff has got his $1 million, and he doesn't want to do any of it. He immediately says, "Don't you see what this means, Nichols?
Yep.
We can go to the moon with this money." And
naturally,
Nichols says, "Oh, come on, I'm not going. I'm an old man. I'd be of no use." And he proves himself right later on in the film.
God, we've picked a good day for this, haven't we? Doing the moon one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's As at the time of recording, this is like the 60th, 50th.
I don't know, something like that. Some 50th, Neil Armstrong malarks.
Yeah, 50th anniversary of the moon landings.
Yes.
Or is it? No, it is. It happened.
Well, there's no proof, is there, from the nudists on the movie?
There's no proof from. I mean, it's nothing like what Jeff claims. So
no.
Let's find out.
Yes.
So they spend a huge amount of time working on building this rocket, and
they got like 6 months, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we see a lot of them musing, looking at things, sort of measuring and doing maths.
Yeah, it's a bit weird because they're in these chemistry labs and so they've got this little chemistry lab making all the little bubbly liquids, and it's how much of that do they really need for the rocket?
Yeah.
Not that I'm obviously it's a film about nudism, not science.
It's science fantasy.
I'm going to say science fantasy.
It doesn't even claim to be science fiction. It's pure science fantasy.
Definitely don't use those kind of flasks anymore. But anyway, that's by and by. It's fine.
This film is nearly 10 years older than the moon landing.
Yeah. All right, when you put it like that.
Yeah. Sort of all right, innit?
Yeah, that's fine. And Jeff's with his machines as well, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
so you've
yeah.
got like the two opposing sides.
Loves his machines.
Oh, and I'll put here that the purple stuff is probably food colouring, which it probably is. Like,
yeah, or
because attention.
potassium does purple, doesn't it?
I don't know, but we tried to boil something the other day, and that was called residurin, and it sort of went purple, but it was mostly blue. Yeah,
that sounds delicious.
Did not work.
Was it blue like a raspberry slush puppy?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Like, but we didn't have the heart to mix anything else in because we're not a bowling alley, and that could have been bad.
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
Not a slush. Anyway,
it is kind of warm in here. It's it's kind of warm evening. So yeah, a slush puppy would be great. But we'll work on that. You can buy us a slush puppy in the form of a coffee at coffee.com/Groovin movies if you want, and we promise to spend it on slush puppy.
Oh, there was monkeys in cages as well. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
So much unnecessary things.
Yeah, that wasn't needed. That's true.
Sorry. I wrote about, and there's like nitrogen and rice, but no PPA. Anyway, that's my like rant over. I spend all week shouting at students. That's my thing done.
Okay, fine. Yep.
So annoyed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, there was plenty of dry ice later, what I assume the effect was, because there's some sort of vapor they can't identify.
Yes.
Now, if you're upset about the fast and loose use of science here, wait till we get on the moon, because you're going to be frantic with rage.
I'm not like that upset. It's not like someone's cut my heart out and like dropped it in liquid nitrogen.
No.
It's just...
which they apparently didn't have.
Yeah.
There's no evidence of it. All of this is essentially would be designed to get the whole feature up to over an hour.
Yeah.
Which would make it feature length.
Yeah.
And also it features, it opens up as a full pop song.
Oh, this was delightful.
A full pop song called, you'd think it was called My Little Moon Doll, because, but that's the brackets. The full title is I'm Mooning Over You, which obviously, means to be pining.
Yeah,
but mooning is also, well, we know what it is, and it's a bit more of a rugby club sort of meaning to it.
Yeah.
So I'm Mooning Over You is sort of like a photograph taken when one of the rugby team passes out at the party, and the other guys all just drop their pants and wave their bums at them, and someone does a photo.
Yeah, we see a lot of bombs in this.
Yes, that's true.
But it was actually it was quite a nice song. It was very croony, very like.
My little moon doll.
You're the moon doll.
Remember, the Beatles hadn't invented pop music as we know it, so it was still sort of croony. It was it must have been recorded in 1960 or something.
Definitely.
So it was still more Sinatra than rock and roll in those days. So
which
pretty wild.
Worked well though. It sold a lot in the beginning. I was like, oh, this is quite classy.
Yeah, it's the entire thing, and the rest of the score are just little bits of sort of guitar and other little bits of music from that song. Yeah, just sprinkled through. And there's lots of sequences with no dialogue or anything more than some young women in small pants frolicking. There's
by the lake.
Yeah, by the lake. There's a game they're playing with a sort of an oval shaped ball. It's not oval, it's sort of like a stretched ball, and it seems to be. It gets thrown in the air, and then they all try and catch it while stood very close to each other.
Think of The Room and the basketball, the baseball scene. Oh, not the baseball scene, the football scene.
Yeah, yeah.
But with no clothes and
without the
wizzo,
without the full dinner suits.
Yeah. Oh man! And instead of Denny, you got Wendy or something.
Hey, how's your nude life?
My nude life is great.
Oh hi, yeah. It's
hi nudist.
It's all very serene and beautiful. So anyway, they get into the rocket, and they shoot off towards the moon. And
no seatbelts, no, and they're vomiting. Well, they're not vomiting, but they're not doing great.
No. Also, what I love is that they're both they're sat next to each other, no helmets or anything like that, but they're still talking to each other through radio communicators, which is brilliant.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, like, hey, Jeff, how's it going? Over. And it's like, he just turns to Jeff. He's right there.
He's a amiable sort.
And then they land, and they go, well, we better get suited up. So what they do is they cosplay as the Power Rangers.
See, I thought it was like Daft Punk meets Robin Hood because it was all red, green, and sexy. And you know what? I was kind of into it. I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool.
It's great. Yeah. Jeff is in the red, isn't he?
That's a good question.
No, Jeff is in the green because he's a bit taller.
Yeah. And Prof is in the red.
Yeah.
Our little man.
And they have these sort of helmets on.
Yeah.
They've got little discs at their mouth which are providing them with the oxygen. Apparently they've only got 13 hours of oxygen.
Oh yeah. This is obviously quite critical.
It's the only plot point there is.
Yeah.
And so they get out and they're in these sort of, but they keep on taking their visors up.
Yeah, they're
throats
not
are exposed.
If this was Total Recall, they'd be absolutely screwed.
Yeah. But thankfully it isn't. It's Nude on the Moon.
It is Nude on the Moon, and such things can be overlooked.
And they look around and they're going, "Oh, look! There's a," and it's literally just some sort of palatial garden somewhere in California.
And there's a ton of gold, and they're like all over it. And he's trying, wazzing everything in his pocket. It's like trying to steal it. Jeff doesn't give a toss.
He's got a scanner.
Yeah.
And he's scanning and goes, "This is the purest lump of gold ore there has ever been." And you're like, we can't take any more weight in our, like, it's such a finely balanced piece of machinery.
Sticks and glue.
Yeah. That if one of them carries more than an ounce over on the shit, it'll just explode or something. It'll burst.
Yeah, they'll just die.
It's incredible how dangerous a game they're playing.
Yeah.
And then that bit goes nowhere. The argument's over the gold, and then it's just like, okay, no more gold. He's got a little box brownie with him to take photos.
Yep.
So Nichols is off taking notes, and
doesn't Jeff climb a ladder and he's kind of like just totally checking everyone out?
They see a ladder. Oh, the first thing they do is they see one stone placed on top of another one and go, "This was put here by an intelligent creature." Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Fine.
And then they go, "Look, a ladder. They make it like ones on Earth."
Oh my goodness!
A ladder's a pretty basic thing for bipedal. But anyway,
but you know,
absolutely.
It was convincing.
They're really selling this thing.
Yeah.
And so Nichols climbs up the ladder and looks over it. We don't get to see what he sees, and then he lifts up his visor and looks at it.
Oh God!
And then he puts his visor back down and climbs back down and goes, "You want to see what's up there, Jeff?" And Jeff climbs up, and it's frolicking nudes. There's two women just in little sort of briefs on a circular stone, just being gently rotated by two blokes, both of whom are cosplaying as Rocky from Rocky Horror Picture Show. They've literally just got gold trunks on.
Yeah.
And there's people just sat in like a sort of a vapory jacuzzi.
Yeah, like hot springs kind of thing. Like
there are people just sort of sat just lightly caressing leaves on hanging tree branches.
It's like if you ever play the bit in Skyrim where you go and everyone's just chilling out and like in the nudes. It's a bit like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, less mammoths.
Yeah, actually very thin on the ground for mammoths. Any mammoths fan, don't recommend.
Yeah, it's not going to bring you what you need.
If you can live without mammoths.
Yeah.
Keep listening. Although why you'd wait this long, surely there's a mammoth podcast out there somewhere.
And it'll be a mammoth task to make. I regret everything. Just in general.
We all do. That's why we watch old films set in a much, much more innocent time.
Yay.
And
Jeff, right? This is the awakening of Jeff's. All facets of Jeff are excited about this business.
Mm-hmm.
He's into it, which is surprising because before nothing.
No,
unless you're a rocket.
The presence of an attractive woman, which he had on the reg daily,
just not in the buff.
Just no, she was wearing clothes.
Bit more ankle, bit more like
stupid Earth rules of wearing clothes.
Blooming hack.
And so he's just going, oh my goodness, they've all got little antennae.
Yep.
That are clearly on headbands underneath the hair.
Which is like if you go on a night out at Christmas, it's exactly like that.
Sort of like hen party, cock dealy bopper things. Yeah. Brilliant.
Oh god, but very glittery, so they're quite classy.
Oh yeah. Oh no. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing crass or crude about this.
No.
It's all very angelic. There's also 2 children in this as well.
Yeah, which is a bit weird.
There's 2 like babies. Right. They are in pants.
Yes.
And they are like, one kid must be about 4, and the other's like a babe in arms, really. Like a toddler or something.
Yeah, it's all very innocent. And
no. And one of them is sat. I think the little one is sat in like the pool, like splashing and having a nice time.
Yeah.
And the older one is just sat on a rock.
Yeah.
With a lady there, and she's just going, isn't this nice? Well, you don't hear them say anything because the people on the moon, they don't speak vocally.
No.
They're telepathic. I think it's to do with their antennae.
So, which makes interplanetarium.
I've seen Sci-Fi before. I'm pretty sure I know how these people work.
Yeah, why not?
And the Moon Queen, as she's credited, she is the one who is just sat on her throne, just staring directly in front of herself. 2 of the men on the moon spot them at the top of this ladder going, cool, dear Sid, look at it. No.
Oh, let's get them there. Get him down.
As 2 Earthmen would do from the late 50s, early 60s, would go, goodness me, they're naked.
Oh my. This is madness.
Yeah, and so they get arrested, I suppose.
Yeah,
they get detained.
Well, it's like a kind jostle, but with restraint.
Yeah, and then there's a lady with a magic wand.
Oh yes,
she's got a flower. It's like a blue tulip on the end of a stick.
She's like a little Tinkerbell, isn't she?
Yeah. With the mount. If you can imagine a full-size Tinkerbell with the mount. It's roughly what she is.
Oh, that ruins it all.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. I don't care that much.
But okay, fine. But she does a sort of little tap on the bonce, and they sort of become very placid, and they just get taken to this cell.
Yeah.
And then Moon Queen says, "We need to call a meeting to see if the strangers are friends or enemies."
Yes, we want to see what they're like.
We need to know. In fact, the episode that we decided not to make, Deadly Weapons, features a similar.
Oh man,
I've only just connected it myself. Features a Doris Wishman trope. Is a very echoey internal monologue.
I am half tempted to watch all her films just to see if that's a continued theme.
She made 9 nudist films.
And they all had disembodied voices.
Maybe.
Maybe they're all connected. Maybe there's like an overarching story type thing.
Oh, I can't believe we watched this
amazing.
one out of order. I hope this. If this is the final
one, I have
one,
summoned you to get a haircut.
Yeah. She summons, because I think she's got some sort of robe on, just like on her arms.
Yeah.
Or she did have when she was on her throne.
Something like that.
And so she then says, "We will, summon the sort of council or whatever." And then they just all walk over to a table, sit around it.
A nice round one.
Yeah, a nice round table. And then she just says, "I reckon they're fine.
They're our friends.
Let them out and help them."
She's very amiable. She's not very threatening.
No.
Which is weird, because any other Atmos, they'd be deaf all over.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Tinkerbell goes down to the thing to let them out.
Yep.
Bibbity bobbity boo. That's not her, but
yeah.
And then they spend the next half an hour in relative silence, just going around, and there's a
lot of fondling, a lot of caressing, but not like in a sexually explicit way, just very kind of nice, like getting to know you.
Yeah, it
kind
is.
of thing.
There's a lot of fun made of Dr. Nichols' moustache.
Yep. They're loving that.
One lady gets a leaf and places it under her nose and holds it there, and makes her friend laugh, and they're all going, ah ha ha, that is Dr. Nichols.
Yeah.
That is proper. You got him roasted, mate, roasted.
They're doing all little buttercups under their little chins as well.
Yeah, they are having just the most serene time in nature.
Yeah, it almost makes you kind of feel bad that you kind of walk through, give it one look, and then chuck a litter can down. Yeah. I mean, I don't do that, but
no.
But you know,
it does make you think. If there were utterly innocent nudes laid about the place, you'd think we need to look after this place a bit more.
Yeah, let's not like
nudity is the only way to save the world. Which is why we are currently nude.
Yes.
So do join us, by the way, if you want to be.
If you want
Please,
to sit around.
If you don't think, just go back to the beginning of the podcast.
Yep.
Remove everything.
Yep.
And then, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
We recommend probably not rush hour public transport.
Yeah, maybe not that.
But you know your life better than ours.
Yeah, so. Maybe not when you're cooking or...
Oh, please no.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Just... No library nudes.
No. Although, I'll bet if we typed in Library Nudes is a 1962 nudist film directed by Doris Wishman.
Probably.
Probably. It's just a lot of people just putting books back.
Yeah, and they'll have like papers on their bosoms and things.
Yes. It'll be like, or there might be like a funny one where there's a lady holding two books, looking between them, and it like covers them up so you can't see.
And there'll be a lot of shh.
Oh yeah.
I was picking up this book, and I thought that the lady was very, very attractive.
Yes. It was very much the Dewey Decimal System of nipples, which is probably a thing.
Oh yeah.
But and so then the only dialogue throughout the whole thing is Jeff with his camera.
Yep.
He goes, be sure to take a picture of those girls over there, Jeff.
Take a picture of all these things.
I'm going to go and investigate the blonde over there. And he's just going around taking notes, and they're looking at, I want to know what makes the vapor from that vapor bath. And so they go around amassing all of this information about the moon. Because don't forget, this is on the moon, the planet, the satellite that we see every night that we take for granted.
Yeah.
And it's this lush, green, flowing water. And they're saying, wow, all of the photographs make it look like it's a barren, ravaged by dust and all this. And they go, oh. And essentially come to the conclusion, well, those photos must be wrong then. There's no greater investigation. I mean, there are a lot of conspiracy theories, I was about to say, revolving around the moon. But obviously, nothing revolves around the moon. But... because it's not there. But there's and we've never been. There's loads of theories and stuff, and I wonder if there are any people who think that Doris Wishman knew more than she was letting on, and thought, if I tell the people the truth, but distract it with what is essentially a nudist film. I watched it with knowing the subtext was this was a sexploitation / nudist camp film with a science fantasy twist. I didn't go into it thinking this might be the truth. And now I feel like I've wasted a viewing, because if I don't know. I think like there's for all we know, Armstrong and that might have gone up. There might have been a nudist colony. They might have got nude. They might have done. Also, their
heartbeats went up.
Jeff and Nichols. Yep. They have to keep their helmets on, not the visors up necessarily.
Oh, no.
Because
why would they need the oxygen?
Yeah, they need to keep their oxygen because they have 13 hours by the time they land, or they have 10 hours by the time they land. Because it took 3 hours to get to the moon.
Unless it's like Dune and they've got like a secret thing piping it through.
I think it looks like it's sort of Dune.
But then the Fremen might, which might explain the telepathy and stuff from the Mentats. So it's just Dune on the moon.
Dune on the moon.
Nude Dune on the moon.
Sometimes the sun comes down in June. Sometimes there's Dune on the moon. Save the best for last, obviously.
Oh, and they had their sandworms.
So they're going around the place. There's an utterly charming scene where a lady is having the most attractive sleep by the corner of a lake. There's no dribble.
Beautiful.
Her mouth's not open.
Nope.
She's not,
blissful.
Yeah, and two other women decide that it would be a laugh. So one of them sort of throws a leaf at her, and she sort of swats it away. And then one of them dips a branch and sprinkles her lightly with water, and then they chase after one another.
A lot of tea-haying.
Yes, there's one really long, lingering shot on a sleeping blonde lady.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of, I think it's supposed to be from Nichols's perspective, and it's a bit grubby. And that's the closest it came to being. That's sort of really the closest it came.
Yeah, there was like the bit where there was like this plant, and it was like a bit tall, and it was around. So that was another blonde lady. Not that is a particular theme of the growiness, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, there's a couple of bits that are slightly more. I suppose there are a couple of moments of more outward titillation.
Yeah, but for the large part of it, it was quite sweet and quite innocent.
Yeah,
in its way.
It was no there was no embarrassment. There was no shame or anything attached to it.
No one got smothered.
No.
So that was good.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like sexploitation, revenge.
Yeah, it was.
Deadly weapons,
and just as many males and females wearing their nuts.
Yes, there was. Well, everyone was permitted a pant.
Yes,
they all had a brief.
Not all visors.
No, I think I don't think the gentleman had so much buttock cleft on display.
That was a big thing.
That was purely for the ladies, I think. But it comes to a point where they go, "Oh, we've got to go now.
Yeah,
this is difficult for me."
Oh, Jeff is not having a good time.
No, Jeff has been met by the Queen, Moon Queen.
He's basically fallen in love.
He has. He's utterly smitten because it's the first time he has seen breasts.
It's bizarre because he seems quite a deep, intelligent man. But,
yeah. Oh, he's seen them.
But he's swayed
from a scientific perspective. Sure,
he's seen them for their gifted purposes.
Mm-hmm. But. He's utterly fallen in love with Moon Queen.
Yep.
And she tells him that she is feeling strong emotions.
Which could be love.
Yeah, which could be what you described as love.
Yes.
And he says, I'm going to stay here. And then Dr. Nichols says, you've literally got an hour of oxygen left. You will die.
Yeah, she's not going to like you in that state, mate.
Yeah, you are about to be dead.
Yep.
And so she says, no, you must go or something.
Yeah,
and it'll all be all right.
Doesn't he get like knocked out or like the fairy kind of whacks him or something?
Yeah, Tinkerbell comes along.
Yeah.
And so he goes, yes, you take him away, Nichols, because it would never work. But never forget that we had our time together. So he comes to. And that's why they forget all of the gear. Yeah. Because the big twist. No, there's two twists.
Yes.
One. They forget all of their gear. They forget the photos. They forget all of the notes they've written down. There's literally no evidence that either of them been to the moon.
Nope.
Or what the moon contains.
All that money wasted.
Yep. Which is why when Jeff is in his lab being annoyed, Nichols walks in and goes, I've just spoken to the head of science.
Yep.
And the government and told them what we said. Oh, really? What did they say? They pissed themselves laughing and told us to piss off. Loose translation.
Yeah.
There's no bad language in this. It's a classy film for classy people.
But having said that, like he's like just waiting to get the funding. So they could have like done an extra mission.
Yeah.
If he was that bothered.
Yeah, he could have just kept that one quiet. Yeah. Because that's it right at the beginning. He said, oh, we won't get the funding for a year.
And he's like, we're doing it now. I'm going to use all of my money.
Yeah. And then he's very annoyed, but Kathy finds out that he's come home, so she goes to say hello. And she says hello, and she stands there.
He's like,
and then he looks at her and he goes, wait a minute. And then in his mind, all of a sudden, he sees her nude with antenna, spitting image of the Moon Queen.
Yeah.
That was the twist. It was her all along.
Right in front of him all that time.
And then
Little Moon Queen.
And then little moon doll.
Oh,
I'm mooning over you, my little moon doll. He then sees her back normally, dressed and stuff, and then he just sort of walks over to her without saying a damn thing. And then Nichols opens the door with his pipe in his mouth and sort of looks at him and goes, "Oh," and then smirks, puts his pipe back in, closes the door, and they embrace in the most chaste manner I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
They embrace, you know, the sort of embrace where, like someone, like at the Oscars, someone hugs someone they don't know just because they're excited, and it's sort of just like an exuberant
but then,
sort of thing, chin right over the other person's shoulder, no saucy whatsoever.
But Jeff doesn't really know what he's doing.
No, he doesn't.
And her beehive is so gargantuan that he's having a fight with it.
Yeah, that's true.
So
and so they, we presume, carry on and have a lovely time. So that $1 million did get him.
It did.
It did get him a life.
And it did get him Moon Girl.
It got him. I'm mooning over you, my little moon doll. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not one for people. If you like a sort of an Inception level plot, don't look for that in this one.
It's not challenging.
No, it's not. But in many ways, it's also not particularly challenging because with modern eyes, the nudity is laughable. Really, it's sort of a very. It's so unsalacious. It's so innocent.
Yeah.
It's sort of quite surprising. But I think that's the only way you could have those sort of nudist culture films.
And I think having watched it compared to Deadly Weapons, I was really quite surprised at what kind of direction she took with it, because the other one was quite crude and very, very exploitative of the lady with the breasts.
Yes.
Which I realise is not a good way because I can't actually remember her name and that's horrendous.
I can't remember her name either, but
good. Yeah. So I think she definitely learned some things.
Although to be fair, if there was a lady to be described as the lady with the breasts,
it is
her.
Be her,
yeah.
Or the lass from Eurotrash.
Oh, Lolo Pops.
Lola, yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yes.
Rest in peace, both of them. I think both.
Yeah,
of them
I think they did. Which, again, it's a shame because I think I was genuinely interested to see how her acting would be, not in a film about just murdering people with a chest.
Yeah. Well, I think she was dubbed in that as well because I don't think English was her first language. And so that she was in Deadly Weapons and Double Agent 77 or something like that.
I'm going to agree with that.
Yes, she was.
Okay.
I've forgotten her name, and that is a shame because I did know it, but only when we thought we were actually doing this.
Yeah, so we've kind of semi-repressed that memory.
Yeah, it was a while ago that we were looking at it, but it's an interesting one. What was your favourite bit? It's difficult to have a favourite bit because it's such a sort of... It was a film designed for a single purpose, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I would say that I think... three of my favourite bits: the car, the hair, and the costumes.
For
from a purely aesthetic,
for a nudist film, for your favourite bits to be the costumes, that's pretty great.
Right in a bit, they were great.
They were, and they totally look like the Green and Red Power Ranger.
Yeah,
it's
genius.
It's so funny when they're sort of wandering about on the. If you follow us on Instagram at Groovin Movies, you'll see some pictures we put up this week of them wandering about on the moon.
Oh, they're adorable.
They are great. Yeah, it's really, really funny.
How about you?
I think I like the really minimalist soundtrack.
Yep.
We have got one pop song, and we are just going to use little guitar moods from that.
Yep.
Sporadically over it. And I think I like the fact more than moments in this. I think I like the fact that she Doris Wishman, and this was a sort of co-written, co-directed thing with Raymond Phelan. I think they were both under pseudonyms as well. But
Ooh.
it was the fact that all they were basically wanting to do was make a nudist film, which were generally set within nudist camps.
Yeah, a little bit saucy.
Yeah, and they were considered like documentaries about this out there lifestyle. You went, yeah, but what if they were telepathic aliens who lived on the moon?
Why not?
And you go, do you know what? That is a brilliant reason for them to be naked.
Yeah. Like, they don't need anything else.
I just love the idea that someone went, I want that. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Really, what's going to make them aliens? Oh, put a little headband on them with a little Alice band with some straws, pipe cleaners or something on it.
Gotcha.
And put a plot into it rather than just the sort of, because I think Carry On Camping is basically like a nudist film with
pretty
clothes
much.
on.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same sort of approach, but
it definitely feels like
much more scripted.
That on the Moon.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like
it's so plotless and and also by the end of it, all that's achieved, not all, but the only thing that's achieved is this sort of relationship we assume is going to happen with Jeff and Kathy. But there's no evidence they've been to the moon. No one believes them. Everyone thinks they're frauds. Their names are mud. Yeah,
which actually for Kathy is kind of like a bit rubbish because obviously she's quite a well-rounded character. She's got a lot to offer. She's got a lot of typing skills.
She's do you know what? Best typist that Nichols has ever seen.
And like she cares about the projects and stuff. She's pretty easygoing, and now he only cares because he's seen her in the buff.
Yes,
which devalues Kathy some.
That modern take does. It's bad. There's no getting away from it.
But obviously,
I suppose the argument to be made is that his eyes had only been opened to the idea of
by the eyes.
His eyes had only been opened by the fact that he'd been presented with.
Like he'd seen her in a different light.
Yeah, it's that light was light on clothing, heavy on sexy. As soon as I found out about Doris Wishman, I knew I wanted to do a film of hers.
She's an interesting character,
because she was making sexploitation films in the 60s, and it was a female director, and so I don't know if that has any sort of impact on the way it's done.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd say there's certainly things she's probably considered more compared to a man in the 60s who's gone, oh, I'm going to do Nude on the Moon, where she's actually like kind of like trying to make her actresses look flattering and make them have a lot of fun with themselves and like not in like a seedy way, but like
no, but the whole community is, we keep saying this word innocent, and it really is. There's this innocence to this community where people are just sort of having a nice time by a body of water and some trees.
But even like Deadly Weapons, like she's kind of the main lady's quite empowered by her body. She's quite empowered by like her position and stuff. And
she's like an architect or something.
Like
she's a lawyer or
something like
she's
quite
like she's got a
she's like marketing or something.
Yeah, she's got a graduate job.
Yeah,
she's clearly been to college,
and she's got her money and she's got like her lifestyle and stuff. But when
I was about to say she was upwardly mobile, but that's
I mean, yeah,
but yeah.
You know, when she's kind of getting into more seedy things where she's actually like really kind of questioning things, but obviously she's kind of using that position to her advantage and going, she's genuinely struggling with that internal dilemma. Like outwardly she's kind of rocking it, but inwardly she's very vulnerable.
I think the idea is that this film was supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
There's an overwhelming feeling of fun to it all.
Yes.
Like the costumes for the astronaut costumes were jolly reds and greens.
Oh,
they weren't just like sort of like overalls. They were, you know, all of this kind of thing. The antenna, the sort of the whimsical aspect of the nudist film. but you know, it's weird because because there were 101 films of pseudo documentaries watching lasses play volleyball.
Like they're always running around on the beach. Like
there's no running in there. They're sort of, if they're running, they're running away from the camera. You can't see it because all know why.
Gambling.
Yeah, we all know why in nudist camp films they're shown playing volleyball and other things where they're jumping
having
or running.
Ice cream.
Yeah, but it's mainly for the jiggle factor.
Yeah.
And there isn't any in this.
No.
Like the running is done with their backs to the thing, so they're sort of running away, and they're also through trees with long branches hanging down, and it's all obscured. And so I'm not going to make any claims as to whether this is a feminist text or not, because I don't think it is.
No.
But I think it was made with a certain thing of, we don't need to see a massive amount of jiggle or Baywatch kind of heaving of and swaying and all that kind of stuff. We can see things that are aesthetically pleasing in a much less, I suppose aggressive is the only word I can use, in a much less aggressive way. So
it's kind of like, the kind of classic art things where they're all just kind of like, they're a bit giddy and it's all very pretty and they're kind of just like round a pool and they're all in the nuds. It's kind of like, it reminds me a bit of like one of those kind of daft scenes where it's quite innocent but a bit cheeky.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I think I did enjoy it, but there's huge scenes of sort of really nothing going on.
Yeah.
And because we're not as starved for images of nude people in 2019 as you might have been in 1960, because there's no sense of urgency at any point in the film. Even if they're talking about, we've only got an hour of oxygen left. Even then they were like, come on, mate, we've got an hour of oxygen. It wasn't, we've got an hour. There's no sense of urgency. Everything's very calm and serene. There's not a bead of sweat in the whole thing. And I think it was supposed to be sort of, well, for the individual who enjoys a nude, by all means, it's sort of like it's sort of a Renaissance painting approach to it, rather than a sort of more Playboy hustler penthouse kind of approach to it. I don't know. I might be romanticizing it wildly, and I probably am.
I think to a point. I think like it's like anything when you kind of. I was like getting a bit bored of like the nudity. I'm like, come on now, what time? Oh, come on. Yeah. But I think like while it feels a bit dodgy, kind of watching like nude people and a bit exploitative, and it obviously is. Like it from some of the other films, it was a lot more tasteful than I expected. Yes.
Well, next week, for next week, the episode 13, we've got a 13th special. There is some nudity in that, which I think is infinitely less tasteful.
Yes, agreed.
Than this. And so I think because it is presented so, and I think basically I don't think there was anything even in the way of makeup. I think everyone just had, because you could see tan lines.
Yeah, exactly.
You could see really, really obvious tan lines from women who generally wore bathing suits.
Yeah. Like in that way, it is like she does present things in quite a body positive manner. Like it is just natural and it's embraced.
Don't get us wrong. They're all of a type.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But within that type, there's a reasonable broad spectrum. There's no one has been cast because they are an idealized body or anything.
Yeah.
It's literally we're doing a nudie film. Do you want to be in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'm 20. I'll look good.
I don't need to say words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. Yeah, that's another great thing. They probably didn't have to pay them anything more than extra rate because they didn't say any words.
Yeah, just you and Amanda Palmer. Yeah, it's fine.
All good.
Yeah.
It's difficult to talk about how. No, guys, wait. This sexploitation film's really positive, but it's not really positive. But it is a lot more nuanced.
Yeah.
The discussion of it can be a lot more nuanced than some other thing.
It's still exploitative.
If it was called "Fuck Bitches on the Moon," then obviously it would be a very different thing, or like She-Wolf of the SS and those kind of that's Nazi exploitation as well. So
I'm not
fun.
I'm not saying it's the best thing since sliced, but I'm not because obviously there's a hell of a lot of stuff wrong with it, but for its time, I suppose. Yeah, in some ways,
I think it's interesting to consider when it came about as well, because we're talking pre-Beatles pop culture, and the teenager had only been around for about 3 years at this point. Rock and roll had only been around for that long, you know. It's a very interesting period of and particularly America, who sort of dominated popular culture from that period on, certainly cinematically. For this to be coming out at the same time, let me see, 60. I think there'd been a couple of Carry On films by the 60. They didn't get bawdy until like the 70s.
No, but, definitely got a lot.
But yeah, so it's interesting. But yeah, absolutely. If I'd say if you can track it down, have a look at it. It won't take you very long.
No.
And the science aspects of it are absolutely charming. If you're interested in early sci-fi and stuff, that's very, very charming, the way they go about the science fiction. That's the real. Obviously, it's hard to sort of go, forgetting the nudity for a moment, but because I think this is more nude exploitation than sex exploitation, because it is in so many ways completely sexless. Yeah. And to have that much nudity without sex is kind of interesting, because that so rarely happens. Nudity is included in film for sex reasons.
But it's weird.
More often than, you know.
Yeah. But it's kind of weird because, like, even when they're interacting with, like, the opposite sex, and even I know that's obviously not how everyone wants to play in their life, and brilliant, but, like... but
again, made in 1960s.
1960s,
so let's assume that they were catering towards a hetero
audience. But still, like, everything was very playful. It was very much, like, driven by friendship and, like, companionship, and not skewed in that kind of way.
Oh yeah, there's that scene where I think the blonde lass who was asleep, she was like doing a little dance. She was doing like a sort of a ballet dance.
Yeah.
And there was sort of a semicircle of people sat on the floor, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, sort of basically like linking arms and all watching her and smiling.
Like in a weird kind of cult.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun now.
But a nice cult.
Yeah, a nice cult. Yeah,
they
before
exist,
the cult gets all killy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that golden period of a cult where it's actually proper
which actually looks pretty good. And you're like, oh, maybe I'm at the point in life where I consider cult. No. Yeah.
That we will not accept. Send us an application form for your cult, by all means. We'll have a look at it, but don't think we'll go for it.
Yeah,
groovinmovies@gmail.com. If you have any cult suggestions. If you got any suggestions, in fact, for any kind of film the sort of thing that we do, you should have an idea by now if you look back at the titles, or indeed go ahead and listen to our other episodes. So yeah. I would say give it a look. It's an interesting thing to consider, and considering the time and the place that it came from, it's almost like a sort of a kid's nude film. No, it's not. But it's almost there's something very, very charming about it.
Yeah.
And it's just that the scenes just depicting nude people having quite a nice time in the sun just get a bit boring for modern people who have seen nude people before and, you know, can get over that.
It's like seeing a promo video for like a seaside resort.
It really is,
in a way.
without any budget for swimsuits.
Yeah, and less beach balls.
Oh yeah, much less. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Well, really, really good. And Doris Wishman's an interesting lady who you should have a bit more of a deep dive on. If you've seen Serial Mom, which
so good,
which you watched for the first time the other night, didn't you?
Ah, it was genius.
John Waters, who is a fan of Doris Wishman.
Yeah.
The porno that the kids watching is Deadly Weapons.
Yes.
So that we've spoken of. So you get a little glimpse of Deadly Weapons for
nice
free.
Little Easter eggs.
If you pick up a couple of ostrich eggs. So I'm just trying to toxify the masculinity on here. I'm not very good at it, but I'll do my best. Given that I nearly wore a skirt this evening, so not very good at the toxic masculinity. It's decided against it in the end. But
Just watch Serial Mom.
Just watch
it's
Serial
great
Mom,
if you're
and then if you're proper interested to see what happens in Deadly Weapons, then pick that one up as well.
Yeah.
But Nude on the Moon, you're all our little moon dolls, and we are currently mooning over you.
Aww.
Don't look up.
Nope. Never look up.
Never look up. So that was Groovin Movies this week. I had a lovely time. I'm pleased. If you did, then go to groovinmovies.com. You can find out ways to help us. You can go to coffee, ko-fi.com/Groovin Movies and buy us a coffee or a slush puppy in this case. Emma would be ever so excited if you bought her a slush puppy.
You can get them for like £1.50 at the bowling alley that I go to. It's really good.
That's one each.
You can mix them.
That's what you can get.
There's like 3 flavours.
Oh, that's £1.50. So one coffee would cover one of those for each of us, and we will send a picture of it to Tom.
Yes.
And
we'll get him one too.
Yeah, we'll get him one as well. Don't worry, that is okay. You cover ours, and we will treat Tom. That sounds like fair. And then yes, you can if you spread the word about us, let people know about us. That would be amazing. Like and subscribe and all of those things. Review us if you feel the urge, and we will see you next time. I've been Eddie French.
I'm Emma. All right.
And we'll see you again next time. Bye.
Tatty bye.
Groovin Movies featured Tom King, Eddie French, and Emma Tidswell, and is part of the Discount Comedy Checkout Network. For more information, go to www.comedycheckout.com. Thanks for listening.